Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, there's not going to be an exact topic or timeline for this video. Honestly, it's just going to be a bunch of stuff that I've been hearing, a bunch of theories I have. I'm not going to say that everything's perfect. Nothing's really perfect, right? So I'm just going to talk and feel free to listen. These are all the concepts that have just been coming up my mind lately, things I've been hearing. Like, I'm telling you guys, the downloads that I've received are something that I find very hard to explain online because I don't see many other people even explaining these concepts. Kind of like the only people I feel I can really relate to some level right now is like David Hawkins and his theories, or not so much theories as truth, I guess you could say. And then also Albert Einstein. I find him fascinating, and I don't know what it is, but all I keep receiving is downloads about time dilation, about space, like in my sleep even, I'm like dreaming about galaxies, and it's just like constantly I keep receiving downloads in regards to like quantum theory and physics, and I like have no prior knowledge of this. I actually was really bad at science in school. Like, I was good at biology. I actually was really good at English. I was a smart kid, I mean, overall, but like generally science, chemistry, math, like it was not my thing. But then I can't tell you what's happening right now or why I'm receiving all this information. But what I can say is that it's starting to make a lot of sense. Some of it, more of it just ends up confusing me, but I'm just gonna start saying things. So again, this is going to be in no particular order. It's going to be totally random, but okay. Some of the things that I get is that we are constantly being reborn, okay? So there's not just one time where, you know, in the Bible, also the Bible has so much information, but it's just so misconstrued. Like, people just don't seem to understand it from the way that I see it now. But we are constantly being reborn. Like, we are constantly coming back. And they say Jesus died on the cross for our sins. Really what's happening is like every time that you judge yourself in a way, it's like you are kind of like, it's very hard to explain. Like, I don't know how I get this information, but it's like you are like killing a version of yourself almost. Not so much like, I don't know if it's physically, it's metaphysically, I don't even know the right term for it, but you're kind of like killing a version of yourself every time that you judge yourself, and that version basically returns to somewhere. And I'm gonna try and explain this, but we're constantly recycling things, let's just say, or at least we should be recycling things. If we're not recycling energy, then that's when we get a buildup of negative, you could call it negative energy, again, everything's neutral, but a buildup of energy basically in us if we're not doing this properly. But constantly we are being reborn, because every time that you have a thought about something, you change states. You can think of it like you constantly have all these different moods, right? Like, you're always feeling different ways. Like, sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're an angry person, sometimes you're a teacher to someone, sometimes you're a friend to someone. You have all these different traits, and every time you have like a thought of like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, there's like a version of you that gets brought here to do that task. So like, if you're saying I'm gonna go and do this today, there's like a version of you that gets brought in that's good at doing that. And I'm not even saying a version of you as in like your self, like your identity you. I'm saying like a version of the universe, like a part of consciousness that knows that topic, that is good at that, that will help you. So that's why when you are constantly thinking thoughts other than what you're actually doing, sometimes you end up getting someone brought in that's not helpful for you in that moment, so they can't complete the task for you the way you want to. So your mind might seem distracted, or you might be like, why can't I think today? Why can't I do what I want to do? Why am I getting frustrated? It's because you're bringing in the wrong person. So when you're doing a task, you want to be like, this is what I'm doing right now. Like, let yourself know, sort of, in a way. And then you bring in what you need. And that's also why having less thoughts and just saying things, like using your mind as almost like a pointer of when you need something, is important. Because once you have a lot of thoughts at once, or you request many things at once, it's almost like you build up a list in your mind, and now your higher self has to move through that list of people that you're asking for and requesting for. And it sort of like creates a, I don't know how to explain it, it's like a flow chart in a way. Like it tries to identify like when you need someone or when you need something, and it tries its best to always fill the shoes properly. But then sometimes, again, like if we're constantly thinking about the past or constantly thinking about the future, then we kind of override this in a way, and we just end up bringing in, again, the wrong people, if this makes any sense. And when you bring in someone for something, a task, it's like, if there is no task to do that you just requested, so if say you're manifesting something, you're saying like, I want this, like, or I am wealthy person, and they come into a body of someone who is laying on the couch, not doing anything, then then it's kind of like you get this conflicting energy within you because there's nothing for them to do. So essentially what happens is then you judge yourself because you're like, okay, well, I'm not actually wealthy right now. You have this negative thought. And then what happens is almost like you kill off this person, or like they go back in a way. And I'm going to explain this. This sounds crazy right now, but there's actually like a way to scientifically explain this theory, okay? But this is kind of what happens. It's either like you kill them off in a way. It's like they go back, and you can think of this like Jesus on the cross. They get sacrificed, whatever. I don't know. Anyways, they go back basically. And they don't always disappear though. It's hard to explain. It's like they don't ever fully die. Like it's not like you're fully killing someone, a concept, but what happens is like they almost go into like this other world in a way. Like they disappear for a bit, and then as you need them again, you can call them back. So it's like you keep calling back this concept or whatever it is to you. But if you keep calling it back and there's never anything for it to do, like you're always going to have this conflicting energy. So that's why it's important to take action in the direction where you want to go at the same time as calling them in. And that doesn't mean you have to like be wealthy to call someone in that is wealthy, because what happens is like you learn from them by taking actions. It's like they need you to take action for them to be able to teach you something so that they can create a flow to bring you to where you want to go. So like by taking actions, any actions really, and even if you get it wrong, there is no wrong or right, you just take action, and then by taking actions, they can get you to where you need to go. So this is, again, very hard to explain, but let's say you call in someone, once again, you call in some of our basic tasks that you're doing right now. So everything is a manifestation is what I've also learned. So if you want to start getting into alignment, start reminding yourself of everything is a manifestation. So tell yourself, think of your higher self is trying to like locate you at all times. Like they need to know where you are to be able to help you in a way, like in time and space. So if you could be like, okay, I'm picking up a water bottle right now. See, that's a task, okay? Like the tasks don't have to be big. Like it can be like, I'm picking this up, or I'm gonna go walk to the washroom. I'm gonna go make myself this in the kitchen. If you can kind of like give it a little plan ahead too, like this is good because you kind of want your higher self to always be a step ahead of you so that it can help you in every situation. And again, naturally, this will happen if you really don't have a lot of thought, because things can just sort of fall into place like pieces of puzzle. Like they can just make a flow based on what you're doing. But if you were having thoughts, then it's good to kind of like, sometimes it's like grounding yourself, really. It's you're telling your higher self where you are at in the field of time and space. You are telling them where you are by saying something that you're doing. You don't have to specifically be like, oh, I'm right here, this is this. But if you take a minute to kind of like look around where you are and say what you're doing, like this is a good way to start building up you being in alignment, because what happens is you build up trust in yourself. Okay, like when you're manifesting things, the whole goal is to be able to manifest and see that instantly manifested. Like you want to be able to trust yourself. So if you realize that everything you're doing is a manifestation, you start to really trust yourself more, and you will feel being more in alignment because you'll start to feel lighter. Like I don't know how to explain this, but your energy, like you will feel lighter because the more you can complete a task, it's like you build up. Again, it's like trust in yourself. I don't know how exactly to explain this yet to you guys. There's more to this, but just trust me on this. If you do this, you will be able to do harder and harder tasks. Like, you will be able to manifest more and more things, but you start small and you build up to it. Because if you trust you, like, other versions of you trust you, if this makes sense, and they want to help you. Again, this is so confusing. So also, what I've come to learn in this process is that your body and mind, thoughts, everything, like, it's really not you. You are the versions of you that come in. Like, again, it's very hard to explain. When they come into you too, if it's a new concept, it comes to you as like a child, you could say. So if it's a new concept that you've never really manifested before, let's say all of a sudden you have some new dream of something you want to do and you want to manifest that, so you're bringing it in, it's going to start off like a child. So it's almost like you have to nurture this child to get it to a stage where it starts to understand you more. Also, what happens is sometimes we'll bring in a belief or a dream or something at a stage where we're not ready for it. Again, like, this can happen where we bring in something that we're not ready for, and it could be like being wealthy or something, and let's just say it's not your time yet to be wealthy. Maybe there's other things you need to go through first that might be more helpful. Not to say you can't manifest it at that time, but just sometimes we'll have a dream of something and then all of a sudden it's kind of like, maybe we get distracted with other areas of our life and then we sort of let go of that dream for a while. Well, what happens is really interesting is that it still develops even when you are not with it. I don't know how to explain this, but it's almost like a child growing. So your idea grows with you in time. So like, as you get older, your idea gets older, and eventually it's almost like, I don't know how to explain this. Like in the movie Interstellar, when he's like, I might come back and we'll be the same age or something at that time. It's kind of like this with your ideas. It's like your ideas come back to you when they've matured, like when they're ready for it, when you're ready for it, in a way. And again, it's like your ideas grow with you, and I can attest to this. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like I can feel when I'm being reborn. Like, I can feel the new person, almost not a new person. Again, it's just like a part of consciousness, but it comes in and then it like grows within me. And this is why it's so important to be kind to yourself, especially when you're emotional or sad, or you're like, why am I doing this? Because it's literally like you're dealing with a child. Like when you were upset and stuff, you're dealing with your young self. Like you're dealing with a concept or idea that's still in the early stages. So you have to nurture it by being kind to it. Like, talk to yourself like you are a child. Be like, okay, like, go pick up the water bottle, like, go here. Like, if you can kind of like be kind to yourself like that, then it gets better. And the interesting thing I find it too, though, is that I still haven't fully grasped this in the concept of time. Like, it's very interesting. It's like you can also have, this makes me sound crazy trying to explain this way, but it's explaining almost like a quantum idea, but just like in a way that we can understand. But you can also think of it as like a brother or sister coming in too. Like, sometimes you also have concepts that are very close to the current one, but it's just slightly different. So like, many times you manifest like the same day, or like you do the same things every day, but they're maybe slightly different. That's like manifesting a brother or sister. So you can think of it like sidestepping rather than like a big leap. So sometimes our manifestations are like, you want a big leap, you want to go somewhere you've never gone before, but other times it's like something small, like, so you're just sidestepping. It's like, you can think of it like the distance you have to travel is not as far, because this is really what I want to get across, is that you are really traveling when you are in different states. Like, you're literally jumping, like you're actually moving. This is also why I had this recently where I was trying to understand like the fact that when you drink too much, you black out. And I've had a time where I blacked out and I had full conversations with people for hours after. They thought I was fine. So it's like, but I didn't recall who I was. Like, I don't remember having those conversations. I don't know anything I said. Like, there's no memories, because you don't form long-term memory when you black out, when you drink. And I found that interesting because it kind of reminds me of like children or something. Like, they don't you don't remember certain things when you're really young, right? So I thought, like, yeah, there has to be some correlation there as well. But what I found is that it's almost like you move so fast when you're, I don't know how to explain it, but when you drink, I found the next day, like, I can see time now. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I can see the separation in time. One second, I'm gonna take a drink. Okay. So, like, you and your higher self, think of it like you're both needing to move in tandem. Like, I showed in my other videos where there's like a portal almost. It's funny, I'm talking about this on the 888 portal. Everyone thinks was so significant. Meanwhile, the number 8 is very significant. I could explain that later, but every day is significant. Every day is. It's no particular day that's more significant than another. But anyways, where am I going with this concept? Yeah, I talked about in my videos before how to manifest something, it's like the circles have to overlap. You can think of it like two circles moving on I don't know, or two dots moving on a circle, and they need to overlap for you to be able to manifest. It's like you and your higher self have to be in the same place at the same time to be able to manifest what you want. It has to move through you. Think of it like I talked about in my other video, becoming translucent. It's like your higher self and you are one. I also like to think of it, if you want a visual of this, think of the movie Just Like Heaven, if you've seen that, where she, like, her soul, like, lays back in her body. It's like that. It's like you have to both meet at the same time and place, in time and space, so that you can connect and so that you can manifest something new. But what happens when you drink, I know I'm just using this as a random example, but we can compare it to other things too, like I said, like childhood. But when you drink, what happens is almost like your higher self can't locate you anymore, which I found so interesting. It's like my higher self could not find me, and I'm telling you this is the truth. Like, I could see it happening. It was so crazy. The next day, it was like I was ahead of my higher self. Like, I was moving faster than the rest of me. It's very hard to explain, but it was like the version of me that was currently in my body was like, had been there for too long and it needed to be replaced, but it couldn't be replaced because they couldn't locate me because I was moving so much faster. Because when you drink, it's like you lose sort of your sense of inhibition and judgment. I don't know how to explain this, but it's almost like you kind of like fly away in a way. Like, you have no grounding anymore. Like, there's nothing grounding you, so you just go back to being what you were, which is just consciousness. And you move faster and faster and faster. And when you're moving fast, what happens is that it's hard to explain, but you basically don't form memories, right? Because I've talked about this in other videos where you're moving so fast through space and time, you're jumping from timeline to timeline. There's no lag period anymore. So you don't form memory. Just like in childhood, if you're so close to the source, as in you're moving so quickly through space and time, because you're not really holding on to anything, literally you're not holding on to anything because you're not grounded. There's no thoughts to hold on to or things to hold on to. There's nothing to you. Then you basically just, you move so fast, you become so high energy. It's like, think of it like a balloon that is not being attached to anything anymore. It's like it's flying away, and so your higher self is chasing after you, trying to locate you in a way, and it can't because it's got nothing to hold on to, nothing to find you with. And so you wake up the next day when you finally do become conscious again. It's like you slow down enough to become aware again. You start to form memories again because, okay, think of it like a circle and you're chasing your own tail. And when you move so fast, that tail becomes like the same thing. The start and the beginning become the same thing, or the start and the end become the same thing. It's like you're moving so fast that there is no tail anymore. There's no front or end to you, and you're just spinning. And so the reason we have memories is because you're moving slow enough that you have a tail to you and that you're not reaching the tail. Like you're going in a circle, but you're not reaching the tail every time you go around. The tail is still, you could say behind you, but it's also ahead of you. That's the interesting part about time. So you're never catching it. So you feel like you're making memories, but it's only because there's like a time lag is the only reason that you think you're making memories. So anyways, when you move so fast through space and time, you don't make memories. That's really what happens. Like you just don't remember moving because you were moving so fast. And then the reason you wake up feeling like crap the next day is because you were moving so fast through space and time. And so I know there's obviously a human explanation for this in the body, but trust me, it's because you were moving so fast through space and time, and then now your higher self is trying to catch up to you, and you're just stuck with this version of you in your body that is literally just not helpful to you. So basically that day I could see the difference because I was like going about my day and I couldn't like do things like I normally could, where I would just be like, okay, I couldn't like center myself, like as in I could normally remind myself of what I'm doing and like be in the moment. And it's hard to explain. It's like my higher self was not there. Like they just weren't there to help me. Like I didn't have this other part of myself, like it was behind it, because I can see myself reflected in my reality. Like I can see how I'm reflected in my reality. I could see that there was a huge lag. So things that I did early in the morning didn't start appearing in my reality till later in the day. And normally I'm like aligned, like it happens instant. So I could see that there was a time lag, a huge time lag. And that is why I felt so gross. And then by the end of the day, when it finally caught back up again, I felt good again. It was crazy. And it makes so much sense though, because also as I've been going through awakening processes and the times when I was like literally had no thoughts in me, like I literally was going through this, you call it like the ego death, like I said, where I basically just emptied my mind of like every possible thought. It's very hard to explain, but there was just like nothing left to me. I felt I had just like given everything up. That point too, I was getting all these aches and pains in my body. I was feeling like my heart was racing and then it would slow down and it would race again. And like my brain, my head would hurt. I felt like, you know, dizzy sometimes. I felt very disoriented and like lightheaded, almost like someone who was drunk. And it's because I was moving fast through space and time. And I've now understood this too, that your body is literally moving through different states of reality. Like it's moving distances at like the speed of light, if not faster. And again, I want to be able to prove this, and I have a bunch of stuff that I have written on this. It is a lot, but part of it is that there is something going on with the cone shape for sure. Which is interesting because we have cones in our eyes, and also black holes are very significant, and wormholes. So the number 8 is like a wormhole is the way that I see it, because the way I've been told is that it's like when you start to recycle things. So again, see, this is so random the way that I'm explaining this. Is probably, if you're still here, like congrats to you. This is a lot, but basically we normally have to travel very far, like I said, to get from one thing to another. So if we want to manifest a big goal in our life that we don't have, we've never had experience with, like it's going to take us a while to get there, to kind of build up the momentum to get there. But if you are doing things, I don't know how to explain this, like in the way where you are releasing things, okay, maybe I don't want to explain this way. Let's just say that all of everything is like, everything's always being recycled, okay? Energy is being recycled because energy is never created or destroyed. Constantly, when you want something new in your life, you have to let go of something else. Because if you don't let go of that thing that you're still holding on to, then what happens is it's like you create a greater gravitational pull on yourself. And again, I can explain this in relation to like this cone shape I'm talking about in black holes, but you basically put greater gravitational pull on yourself when you want something new, but you do not release something in place of that. So if there's a new belief that you want, but you're still believing the old belief, then what happens is you begin to weigh yourself down. So you don't actually speed up in terms of the rate at which you're moving. It's like you pull yourself down, you drag yourself down. And so you feel, literally, people say they feel burdened or weighed down by this. And this is why it's like you're conflicting in your states, and you're constantly bringing in this one version of yourself and then another version of yourself. So what you're doing is you're like hopping back and forth between very different states that are very far away, very far apart. So you're gonna feel the effects of that by emotional ups and downs. That's what's gonna happen. That's why you get the emotional ups and downs, because you are moving so far back and forth. It's like you're this great higher version of yourself, and then all of a sudden you go back to this lower version, which is so far away and such different gravitational pull. So it feels literally like you're going through ups and downs. Even your body can feel this, versus what happens when you, at one point, you learn to transcend things. And this is like when you are recycling things. So when you instead let go of an old belief and accept the new one, and only accept the new one, it's like either you can fully stay now in that new state. If you can fully stay in a new state, that would be amazing, right? Like you don't have any back and forth then, but for most of it, it just doesn't happen that way. So instead what you do is you start letting go of really just any other beliefs that you don't need. So like in the process of bettering yourself in one area of your life, you can also let go of things in other areas of your life, because nothing is really connected. You're just holding on to energy. So you can think of it like, yeah, there's no negative, there's no positive. You're just holding on to energy. So if there's things you don't need that you can let go of, like release those things. Speak them out to yourself. That's really all it takes to release them, is telling yourself you forgive yourself, but being genuine about it, feeling the emotion, crying about something if you need to cry about it. Like this is how you release emotion. You can also release emotion too through action as well, through doing things, because through doing things you experience negative events as well. So the ways to release emotion really are, you take action, you do things, you experience difficulties which cause you to release these emotions, which is great, like you can do it that way. Or you go through yourself and you speak things out, you meditate as well. So meditating is like a natural way to release things without having to actually like bring them up specifically. Like you can just be in a meditative state. You might also find like you rest a lot more as you move into higher states of consciousness, because there is more for you to need to release, because as you move faster and faster through space and time, you feel everything a lot more. Like you feel the stuff you're holding on to a lot more. So you might find like you're resting more, or you need more rest time. Yeah, again, this is really hard for me to explain, so I apologize if this sounds like it makes no sense right now, but you get to a point, the most important thing is getting to the point where you are constantly recycling things. It's like a recycle bin. This is why I kept seeing this symbol over and over. I finally understood it. It's like the number 8, or the infinity symbol. You constantly have to let go of something to receive something. This is the way of the universe and the way that you maintain balance. If you try to hold on to something while asking for something new, the universe will forcefully cause you to release something else, okay? Because no matter what, the universe has to maintain balance. And the people that become extremely unbalanced are the ones that will not let go of anything. And then what happens is gravity becomes stronger on this person. It's almost like, again, this is hard for me to explain. I could probably make a video on this and actually talk about this in a better way, but let's just say like the more weighed down you get, the more you get kind of pulled backwards into almost like your past in a way. Like if you're holding on to things, you're holding on to your past. So you get pulled further and further back into the past rather than getting pulled towards the future. So when you choose new beliefs, you're getting pulled towards a new version of yourself. Versus if you hold on to old beliefs, then you're getting pulled towards the old version of yourself. So you're getting pulled in both directions no matter what. And this is why I also think that this cone shape that I keep seeing is like almost like a black hole in a way. But you're almost like inside of it. And then there's also this, again, okay. It's almost like there's another version of a black hole that's like the opposite of a black hole, like a wormhole, I think it's called. I believe that we're constantly being sucked into a black hole and then spit back out through a wormhole. And the thing that's interesting, they always say like you can't survive in a wormhole, or like they're very unstable, they don't last for long. And the thing is, it doesn't have to last for long though. Like the way we move through it is that we release a version of ourselves and a new version replaces that version. So we are never really the same person unless we, you know, go back to an old state. But even then, that version of ourselves is a slightly different version at all times. Like, things are being recycled all the time. Things get taken up and things get put back out. The way that I explained this, or I was learning about it earlier, was that essentially we're really just changing matter itself, like energy. Again, never created or destroyed. So when you let go of something, it's almost like you can think of it like a tornado in a way. Taking it up, like a vacuum, taking it up, black hole, whatever, and it turns whatever that thing is back into the faster moving version of it. So like in a black hole, they talk about how you would be stretched to nothingness, you know, like instantly inside of a black hole, and then when you get to the point of the horizon, whatever it's called, point of singularity, like you would just become nothing, like everything would just collapse, right? All space and time. And this is what's happening all the time. Like all the time, things you think are gone are not actually gone. They've just been so condensed that you can't see them anymore. And the reason for that is because this cone shape that I believe that we see is really just our imagination and reality. So all the things that we think are so-called gone are just in imagination, and imagination is really just the condensed version of what we're experiencing right now. So like anytime you want to bring something out here, it is simply just coming from this wormhole, basically, black hole, whatever. It's being spit back out, you can think of it that way, and it's being slowed down to the point where it now can appear in your reality, or it's being, this is why it's important for your higher self to know where you are in space and time, so that it can make sure that the energy of the object matches your current reality, matches where you are. That's how things can manifest. I feel like this is not my best explanation for how I wanted to talk about this, but think of it like this little tornado that takes up your negative thoughts or limiting beliefs. By the way, this does this all the time in your life. Like, this is constantly happening. You just don't realize it. But once you understand it, it's like then you can use it to your advantage. And basically, the universe wants us to get to a point where we are like sustainable, where it's like almost like renewable energy, where every time that we ask for something new, we release something else. And this is how we remain neutral in a way. This is how we remain balanced in our energy. And this is how we continue to expand without feeling the strong effects of it. This is like the hack, or the cheat code is what you could say. It's that you continue to release things, like you don't hold on to everything. And then you can continue to expand and expand and expand, because the people that hold on to things too much, they get weighed down, and eventually, like, they get, it's almost like sucked into their past, but like in a way, like sucked into the wormhole or the black hole, like you can think of it like that. Again, I don't know why black holes, wormholes, very significant. I also like to think of it like our eye is like a black hole. That's the thing that I really want to get across in this video, is I almost see our eye as a black hole. Like, the imagination is the small point of the cone, and then it goes outwards to our eye, and then we see this big world outside of us, but really it's just a small condensed world that is inside of us. The entire universe is within us, but we're seeing it projected outwards. And as you expand, hi buddy, you're really just expanding what's already there. You're just expanding. It's like every time you expand, the way it's been shown to me is like a tree. The rings on a tree, you're just moving, you're jumping to another ring, and then another ring, and then another ring, and it's just getting wider and wider. So your field of what you are aware of is becoming larger and larger, but all that stuff was already there to begin with. You're just projecting it outwards. So your mind is like the black hole and also the wormhole. Like, it spits things out, it takes things back up again. So the people that you think have died, really, they didn't go anywhere. They just became so condensed, and they just got sucked back in. So you can still think of them in your imagination. They're still there. They're just not visible to you, is all. Like, at least that's the way that I see it in a way. But there's more to it than this. Again, this probably has so many, what do I want to say? So many points that are contradictory right now when I'm speaking about this. I wish I could explain it in the way that I see it in my head, because there is so much that I could talk about. But really, another big thing that I keep getting information on is nuclear fusion, nuclear fission as well. It's basically saying that there is a better way to go about expansion. Like, again, like, it's a reaction that can be done over and over, like an energy source that can be used over and over. And this is what I talk about. Like, it's like renewable energy in a way. When you are releasing something and taking something new in, it's like you can continue your expansion without any issue, because you maintain this level of neutrality, no matter what, at all times. And neutrality, yeah, it's not this or that. Like, it's not good or bad, or like, you know, it's just a balance of energy. Like, the universe does not see any thought as negative or good. It does not see that you have to release a negative belief to get a positive belief. Like, it's just what you deem, you know, good or bad. It's anything that you judge. So the more energy that you're holding on to, the more you're weighed down. So if you want to expand, if you want to experience new things, you need to release something. And again, it doesn't have to be the opposite of what you want, although that is a good place to start, right? So it can be as simple as releasing like some small belief that you have about yourself that you no longer need, or letting go of memories that, you know, don't really serve you in any way. Just speak about them or meditate on it, whatever. Again, meditation itself naturally causes you to release things. Sleeping causes you to release things, because your higher self literally is like following you through life, recycling things for you, or taking things up for you and putting new things in, depending on your beliefs that day, depending on what you're going through. Like, constantly, this is what it does. But if you want to basically become become self-sustaining in a way, then you do this yourself. Like, you release things. And another way to do this, again, is just basically becoming the observer of your thoughts is another way to do this. You don't manually have to go about releasing every single belief if you become the observer of your own thoughts, because if you can become neutral to everything coming through you, then there is no point to release anything, because you're not holding on to anything. So that would be like the ultimate, you know, level of enlightenment, is not holding on to anything. That's like people that literally have no desire, no anything. They just sit and meditate. Like, that would be the ultimate. But the thing is, most of us still have a bit of an ego. Like, we want to still experience things in our lives, which is totally okay. And that's the thing. Like, you want to be kind of like friends with your ego in a way. So you want the good parts of it, but not the parts you don't like. And again, good and bad is just personal preference, really, is all it is. So keep the things you want to keep, let go of the things you don't want. And the more you let go of, the more you can bring in. And once again, if you don't do this, it will happen for you. And so what happens is either you take action, do things. If you're not someone who likes to just sit with your beliefs, whatever, go start taking some action. Just start doing things. And remember, like, if you want, tell yourself what you're doing when you're doing it. It can help you to be more in alignment. But just start doing things, going about your day, do stuff, take actions as if you're working towards your goal, even if you have no clue how the heck to start. Just start doing things, knowing that that's the direction that you're going in. Like, as long as you have an idea of where you're going, just start doing things in that direction. That's one way. And then the other way is, like I said, just sitting, speaking things out, letting things go. But this kind of happens naturally. Like, if you don't just go about doing it. Once again, this whole process is really meant to be a natural process. It's not meant to be something that's so difficult. It will happen. If you just move towards your goals, like, this will happen naturally if you just start taking small steps forward. But if you want to physically sit there and release beliefs, that's totally okay too. And you can also do that. That's also an action as well. But the only thing is, if you don't do either of these things, if you don't do action and you don't release things, and then you still try and manifest, like, you're repeating things all the time that you want, what's going to happen is you're going to have this buildup of energy in you, and then you're going to get frustrated, you're going to get angry, you're going to get upset, and then you're going to release things because the universe is going to force you to. So that's when you have emotional outbursts, or you feel really down or really upset or whatever. And again, it's because you're going back and forth too between these states, and it's just not good for you. And yeah, you need to let go of it, is what the universe is trying to tell you. So if you don't do it yourself, it will do it for you, basically. So that's the cool thing, though, is that you really don't have to try that much. I mean, either way, it can happen as long as you have an idea of where you want to go in mind. Like, it will take you there. I know in my other video I said you don't need to manifest anything, which really is true. The only thing stopping you from manifesting anything is yourself, the things you're holding on to. Like, that's about it. Like, there really is nothing stopping you. Like, as long as you keep moving forward, that's the number one thing. Richard, or I keep calling him Richard all the time, David Hawkins, he says this too, and I learned this, is the number one thing is keep moving forward, no matter what. Keep moving forward. Like, keep learning things, or keep moving, physically moving. If you can keep yourself moving forward, it's like you are progressing towards the future. Like, you're progressing towards where you want to go. Even if you don't know where you're going to continue to expand. Like, that is the cool part, is that you don't even have to have a real direction, because the universe will continue to unfold for you. You'll continue to move forward as long as you are not going backwards, basically. As long as you're not focused on your past and focused on holding on to things. And again, it's okay to take a step back or move backwards sometimes, or think about your past sometimes. I'm not saying that's bad whatsoever. It's just, if you can just keep moving forward regardless, though, as much as you can, then you will keep progressing. And yeah, in regards to manifesting something, what I've learned about that is that your previous desires have not been forgotten. They're never forgotten. I'll just let you know that. They're always there. They're literally stored. It's almost like a memory bank or something. They're all there. They have not forgotten you. So if you call them in again, like if you speak whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, it's like, again, you're calling in that version of yourself. And if it's something you've never done before as well, it's hard to explain. It's almost like you'll be guided either way. Like, if you just call that thing back in, you'll be guided. And you don't have to constantly manifest. You're not manifesting anything. You're just calling in a portion of consciousness that has that knowledge of where you want to go. So if there's something more that you want, you would call that version in by speaking it out, like, I am this, because you are, because it is you. It's not because you're manifesting it, it's because it's just a part of you. You would just call it in, and then it's like you will be guided in the direction of that. Like, your body will literally be guided in that direction, even through the most random actions that you think have nothing like correlated to it. Like, you just call that version in and then just start taking actions, like, you will be led in that direction. So you're never manifesting anything. It's not about desiring something, it's just about choosing, like, a state. Like, you're just choosing a part of, I've said this in other videos, a part of imagination. Like, it's all there inside of you. The entire universe exists within you. And so also, when you manifest something new, you're not just manifesting that thing, you're manifesting the entire new reality. Like, so it's not that you just manifested that you're wealthy now or something. It's that you manifested an entirely new reality where everything is now on this new level of consciousness where you are. So the universe, like the space, the earth, the people around you, all of them are, it's like new. Everything gets replaced. It's not just you. It's like everything around you is replaced in a way with a higher version of that. And again, it's so small that you don't notice the difference at first. But if you take larger jumps, it does start to get weird, trust me. Yeah, I've definitely seen major changes in my life, and it's gotten crazy. So I don't know if this video makes sense to anyone, but really my number one theory is that literally gravity and time are the biggest things. Gravity and time. The more we hold on to things, the more we are like weighed down, and we can't move as easily through space and time. We are less likely to expand. We are being pulled backwards in a way when we are holding on to things. When we release things, think of it like a balloon. You become lighter, and you are able to move more easily. And eventually, like, when you transcend things, when you are so neutral about everything, like, you become, like I said, translucent, where you're just totally in alignment with yourself, you can so easily move through space and time. So think of it like when you are out of alignment with yourself, your higher self is still there. It's like it didn't forget about you. A lot of people are moving through time where their higher self is ahead of them in a way, like it's further ahead of them. That's why you see things manifest a lot later on, because your higher self is so further out ahead of you. But as you lighten yourself, it's like you speed up enough to the point where you get in alignment with your higher self. So as you let go of things, your higher self and you can start to be on the same frequency more often. Like, you're starting to move at the same speed. So now when you manifest something, it comes about very quickly. And this is what I talk about, like almost like a wormhole, or the number 8, the infinity symbol. It's like you let something go and something new comes right in. Like, it's immediate. Like, immediately the old thing is taken up, the old reality is taken up, and the new reality takes its place. Like, it's very fast. Versus when you manifest something and you're not in alignment, and your higher self is out in front of you and you gotta wait for it. No matter what, you're still gonna manifest things, but it just works a lot quicker when you're in alignment. And like I said, to be in alignment, you go about your day and you start literally manifesting things, like saying that you build up your belief in yourself by doing things that you say you're going to do. That's another thing. Do things you say you're going to do. Still have your big goals of where you want to go. Like, you could still have that. Again, you're not really manifesting anything. Like I said, you're just selecting states, but do small things for the day. Like, make a list for things you're going to do that day, and just know for sure they're things you can complete. Like, make them simple. Like, I'm talking, if you're really burnt out or something, like, make them so simple, as in, like, go wash your hair or something, or even, like, get up off the couch, make my bed. Like, simple task. And if you can, while you're doing the task too, be like, I'm making my bed, or I'm doing this, like remind yourself what you're doing. It's like you just manifested that, and now you're seeing your manifestation come to fruition. That's really what you're doing, because you do that every day of your life. You just don't credit yourself for it. So do that, and I promise you, you will start to feel more in alignment with yourself, and you will build up to wanting to do more for yourself. The more that you accomplish, and you can like say, you know, I said I was going to do that and I did that, then the more that you believe in yourself for the bigger visions. And it's like your higher self believes in you too, in a way. It's very hard to explain, but it's like, think of if you were like a soul wanting to come to a body. Would you want to go to one where they always say they're going to do something and they never do it? Or would you want to go to one where you know that you're going to be needed? Think of it like, it's almost like, it's the divine masculine and feminine energy. So the masculine energy wants to feel needed, it wants to feel useful, wants to help you. So when you call in a version of yourself, like it wants to help you, it wants to be needed. So that means that make sure that you're calling in what you need in the moment. And also, you can also say things like, you know, I'm not feeling happy right now, or something, or I'm feeling sad right now. Sorry, one sec, taking another drink. You can say something like that, like acknowledge your current state. Be like, I'm feeling nervous right now, but I want to feel calm. So anytime that you want to change your state and you're unhappy with your current situation, to accept it, just acknowledge where you are in space and time, which helps your higher self know where you are. Because if you lie to yourself and say, I'm happy, when you're not happy, your higher self is not going to know how to help you. Because it's going to be like, okay, you're happy, cool. You don't really need anything from us then. Versus if you say, I'm sad right now, but I want to feel happy, then your higher self's gonna be like, oh, okay, cool. We're gonna have to send you someone who's happy then. You know? Like, and again, I say someone just to help you understand it, but really you're just choosing states, versions of yourself in a way, versions of consciousness. So don't lie to your higher self. It always knows when you're lying, by the way. You can't lie to it. You can't fake things. And that's why when you try to manifest something, people say you got to convince your subconscious mind, but really it's just choosing the idea and just knowing that that's where you're working towards. Like, you don't have to fake anything really. Like, it's just choosing, you're just choosing a state, and then you're just moving within that state. Like, it's hard to explain. I don't know how many times I can say that in this video, but you don't need to like forcefully convince your subconscious mind. It actually is more annoyed by the constant repeating of things. Again, that's a belief. I mean, you could change that, but it's unnecessary to repeat things multiple times. You can do it to choose a state, like, once again, to like, if you feel you're not in the state you want to be in, be like, you know, this is where I want to go, or just say that, you know, I am blank, and you will instantly be in that state. That's the thing too. Like, there's no waiting time really to be in a state. Like, even if you are at a distance with your higher self, like, you're almost always in a state instantly, whether you know it or not. Like, it might take a little bit to see any change, but you are in that state. So just start taking actions. Literally, people say all the time, take aligned or inspired action. It really is just taking action and just knowing somehow, some way, you're going to end up where you want to go. Like, I've said this in all my videos, you can't mess up. You literally can't mess up. Even if you think you're making a wrong choice, I promise you, you can't mess up. It's like the universe looks at your wrong choice and is like, cool, right choice. Like, it doesn't matter. It redirects you always. It's like a flow chart. I said this to someone. It's like the universe is like a flow chart, and if there's something that blocks you in one direction, it will start you on a new path in another direction. Like, it will always find a way around things or through things. It will create flows based on where you need to go. And it's so interesting when you get in the flow, because you realize this higher level of consciousness is so smart that you don't really need to do a whole lot. Like, when I get in this state, it's like I'm cleaning my house and I just let go. I just say what I really want to get done that day, and then I just let it go. And I move around my house, I see myself, like, I look at things. It's like it's almost like your brain makes note of things that you don't even notice. So when you think your higher self doesn't remember something or doesn't know about something, it does. I promise you, it knows. It remembers. It doesn't forget. It knows more than you know, I promise you. It's like it maps out where you are. So I would be cleaning my basement, and all of a sudden I would have this urge out of nowhere to just go clean something I hadn't thought about in a while. Like, it would just come out of nowhere. And that's because it's like a memory my higher self had. It's like it's always making notes of what it needs to do to help you, like, constantly. Or because in your mind, you might have a feeling about something. You might look at clothes on the floor, and like in your head, you're kind of like, maybe you don't even say it, but you just have this sort of feeling about it, like, man, I need to clean those up, kind of. And your higher self makes note of that. And then later on, it will help you. So this is the cool thing about your higher self. Like, don't think it forgets things. That's why you don't need to remind it of all your desires, because it already knows. It knows what you want based on how you feel about things too. It doesn't listen through words. It listens through, like, your feedback, your feeling more than anything. It learns through feeling. So, and that doesn't mean like you have to feel super happy or super angry about something. You don't have to force any feeling. It's the minor little changes in your feelings that it can understand. So, like I said, I was cleaning my house, and it was magical in a way. It was like I just flowed through so easily. Like, if there was something near me that I could clean that was close to me, it was like I would do that first. Even if it was random, that's the thing. It would feel very random to me the way I was cleaning. Like, I would start something and I kind of go start doing something else. And it's funny because my boss in my old job used to say I did that too, but it actually worked. I was very quick and efficient. So this is what I did with my house, and I've never cleaned that way before. Usually I would just do like one room first, like the kitchen or something, and then do the next. But in this way, I was just, wherever I was in the house, it was like it would show me the fastest like thing, like the fastest way to go, basically. So if there was something I need to clean the bathroom, and all of a sudden I have to go get scissors or something, I would, like, now I'm in the kitchen, and now I would do something in the kitchen, and then I would go back, and it's like it would pick the fastest route every time, because I wasn't using my brain to try and forcefully go back to the kitchen and go clean more there. Like, it was just, I just let it happen, and it was amazing. I've never cleaned my house so quickly in my life, and it felt natural. It felt easy. It was literally the flow state that people talk about. And it was like that for quite a few days, actually, where I was very much in the zone. You can fall out of it too and go back in it. You're always moving through states of consciousness, and never, like, get upset with yourself. You feel like you were like, oh my god, enlightened, and then all of a sudden it's like, now I don't know what I'm doing. You fall back and forth, but you fall less and less every time. Like, you still kind of are close. You're further ahead than you were before. Even if you feel like you fell backwards, you're always moving forward though, right? Like, if you keep trying. So just know that. But it was like that for a few days. I had never had my house more clean in my life. My house was so clean, and I was like, people would ask me to hang out or something, and I was instantly, yeah, like, I could do that, sure. I would just say yes to things. Like, I was just so natural with everything. It was just, I've never felt so just happy. And the people in my life, it was so crazy. They were just, everyone was nicer. Like, everyone was just different. I just felt like the people around me were different. I was speaking different. I was more relaxed in the way I would talk, the way I did things. Like, I just did things I wouldn't normally do, just by just relaxing into it and just kind of letting go. And, like, my days were just so random. Like, the way I would do things was so random. And I think that's the way of the universe, because everything is not cause and effect. We're just jumping back and forth between timelines all the time. So ADHD also, I think, is not at all a disability. I think it's really the way that our minds were kind of meant to work in a way. We were meant to jump back and forth between things, because that is actually, the fastest route is not a straight line. The fastest route is, it's like a wormhole. It's back and forth. It's like, it's not straight. It's not. So if your life feels like it's all over the place right now, just know that that's exactly the way it's supposed to go. It's not meant to be a straight line at all. And yeah, I never felt happier than when I was doing the most random things in my day. I would literally start on one work project, do some of it, then I would go do something else. It was like keeping my brain active and happy, you know, rather than just sitting at a desk all day doing the same thing 24/7. I was constantly going back and forth, and it was the most efficient way to do things throughout my day, was literally just not trying to force anything. Yeah. And if you don't know where to start, again, take any action. Like, I'm talking once again, make your bed, go pick up a water bottle, drink some water, start there, and then be like, okay, what's next? And then go do something else, and then go do something else, and just keep doing things, and you'll build up momentum when you do that. Just start small and keep working your way up every day. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Again, you'll get better at it with time, so-called time. So, yeah. Anyways, this video is so random. I don't know if I'm gonna post this, but if I do and you watch all of it, I hope I didn't confuse you even more. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep rambling, you know, if I keep talking in this video, but main concepts are you are constantly being reborn all the time. You're not stuck ever in any state. You're constantly shifting through states. To bring in something new, you need to let go of something old. This once again will happen naturally, usually, if you just move through the motion, do take some actions. It'll come about naturally to you, or if you just meditate more. If you're ever feeling really tired too, like very sleepy all the time, like accept that and accept it's okay to rest and spend time like meditating, because sometimes that's what it's there for. The rest that's happening in your life, the need to just like lay down all the time, is because there's something in your mind that needs to be processed, that needs to be let go of. So you either manually let go of it, trying like actually attempt to speak it out, or you just meditate, allow yourself to rest, and eventually it will be recycled out. You don't need to do it. But also getting more sleep can be good too, if that's the case as well. Sleep is way more important than I used to consider it. So just remember that, because you basically go through a whole refresh every night. Like, it's like fasting for yourself. It gives your body time to go through the day, go through all your requests basically, and organize them into sort of like a flow for you. So that's why sleep is so important. If you feel like your day is disorganized, or if you feel like you're getting frustrated, like, go meditate for a minute, like go take a little nap or something, because sometimes that's all that's needed to refresh you again and bring you back out of it. Anyways, I'll go more into detail on this stuff in other videos, maybe actually use some science behind it. Again, not everything can really be explained by science, but I do think there's something very significant about black holes and wormholes, and I do believe that we are moving at varying states in time, and the energy that we hold is how we move faster or slower through this time. And we're being pulled in both directions, basically. Like, we're really being pulled backwards most of the time towards our past. Like, it's kind of like swimming against a current, but transcendence is like the way through this, really. Like, to move faster is to just stop judging things and just, again, as people say, become the observer of your thoughts, or just neutralize your thoughts yourself. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking. I feel like I'm just gonna keep adding more confusing information to this video, so thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your ideas are on this. Yeah, let me know. I've been drawing like cones and black holes and wormholes and things for the longest time now, so clearly I think it has some importance, and I do think our eyes are like literally, as they say, the windows to the soul. So it's almost like the eye is the black hole, the color area around your eye is just like a condensed universe. And again, this is just metaphorically, because like everything is really just energy. We're just another manifestation, but I do feel like this is like the representation of it, though, is that imagination is the condensed version of reality, and then as we expand, we're just seeing this played out for it. Like, it's just, you're just projecting what's already there. You're just projecting different levels of it as you speed up. You just, I don't know. Where am I going with this? It's like a cone shape, okay? Just think of it like an ice cream cone. The little small end is in your head, and then the bigger end is out in front of you, and that is what you're seeing. But you're just projecting portions of everything that exists within you. You literally are all parts of it. You're all of the universe, and you're just expressing different parts of it at different times. And the more that you expand, the more that you're able to express in this lifetime, I guess you could say. Yeah, reality is just unfolding around you. Okay, I'm gonna end this. You guys can understand now why it's hard for me to make videos. My mind is like moving a mile a minute. I have way more notes than this too, by the way. Like, I could go on and on about nuclear fusion and nuclear fission and loopholes and whatever else that I have. Point of intersection. Also, I find it very interesting that Jesus died on the cross. The cross is like an intersection, an intersecting point. You can think of it like a target. I think of it like collapsing time and space, almost. Like, that intersecting point is very important. Anyways, okay. I'm done. Thanks, guys. I will see you in the next video, I guess. And to anyone I owe coaching to, I'm so sorry. Again, it's just been a lot, and I keep wanting to have a solid explanation for all of this, but it just keeps expanding, and I just keep getting more. So I'm going to do the best to answer the emails as best as I can this week. Again, I'm so sorry, guys, for anyone that I've taken a while to answer to. It's just been a lot the last couple of weeks. Things are kind of leveling out now again, though. I feel like I'm stabilizing in a way all this information, so I will get back to you guys as soon as I can, but I just want to apologize for that. Definitely taking longer than I would like to, and I want to get back on top of those emails. So thank you, guys, and I'll see you later. Okay, bye.